Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Let me grab my slides and we are good. Okay. Okay, there we go. Very, very good. All right. Oh, yeah, let me take this away. That's what I need to do. Get this off the screen. And yes, I see you can hear me. There is the slide for today. I mean, the thumbnail for today. Um, I feel like I forgot something, but let me make sure. I'm pretty sure the troll spray is on, but let me double check that. Troll spray is engaged. And spray, turn that down. Okay. All right. Okay. One more thing. I do apologize. Almost, almost, almost. And hashtag. Okay. And one more hashtag. All right. Okay. So there's been some propaganda going on. And while I did not prepare a slide for it, uh, there is a troll patrol. That was a Freudian slip. That was a Freudian slip, not a troll, a poll. Oh Lord, I meant to say a poll. Hold on a second. Oh, Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you as always for being here on Royal Sussex. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. But yes, there is a troll of a poll out there. And, you know, how do I put it? I could just ignore it, but I don't want to. But the troll, see, I've done it again. The poll seems to give a glowing and favoring, um, uh, what do you call it? Popularity to the Waleses, right? But I just want you to know something. The Sussexes are not running for public office. So this idea of a poll um, for a popularity contest, you don't know how the question was asked. Like, for instance, if you pose a question to someone, who is your favorite royal? And you assume that, well, maybe the two that step back away from official royal duty are no longer royals. Or, as they say, you get me? You get me? There's a lot of people who seem to believe that they're not royals anymore. Was the question posed working royal? Whatever the case may be, there has been a slanderous hate campaign that has involved just about every media outlet in the pocket of the royal family. And sometimes they get help from other media outlets. And of course, sadly enough, that includes the American media. There is some right wing media here in the US. Anyway, they have done as much as they could to, I guess, what I could say is that this is the energy that they should have been throwing toward the sick old man Andrew, but instead part of this vendetta against the Sussexes, which has been nonstop ever since 2016, really. The conspiring and such, the briefing from Kensington Palace and Clarence House, all of that has definitely taken its toll. And to pretend otherwise is not helpful. But that being said, I believe that the popularity of the Sussexes is still intact. Um, the polls, of course, come from places where you have to kind of question the legitimacy of it, considering that, like for instance, YouGov, if I'm correct, YouGov at one time the Queen Consort's nephew was on the board, or may continue to still be on the board of YouGov. So uh, when you have a police department like the Met Police that did not want to investigate the sick old man, did not want to investigate the cash for honors, uh, it just goes to show that there's a continued influence from the royal family. And I'll be honest with you, it's not going to be easy to navigate through those very murky waters. However, it is not impossible either. And of course, as they say, you reap what you sow. So I remain optimistic. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is don't worry about the poll. Do not worry about the poll. That poll is heavily slanted in favor of the the Welleses. Anytime you could take two people that have been written about as the laziest royals in the history of the family, and within 5 years you have managed to make it seem as though all they do is work, I guess anything is possible. So um, if one were to believe that were the truth, then I guess you should believe those polls. But it is part of a much greater plan. In order to lift them up, it is necessary to tear other people down. And that has been their strategy all along. That is a tactic that has been used by the institution and by the media for a long time. The big difference between this and, of course, the only thing I can compare this to is a presidential election campaign season, where there is relentless news coverage, there's character assassination, and of course, by the time it's over with, you not only do you not recognize the candidate, but they don't recognize themselves. As Barack Obama once said, I wouldn't want to vote for me either. He didn't recognize the person that was being depicted in the commercials and on the talk shows and such. But there's a new, um, well, I guess it's not so new. It's been around for a while. But instead of the media being there to inform as part of the, what is it, fourth, fifth estate, instead of them being there to ensure that they have a voice for the public, now these media groups are purely about profits. And with the right wing media, they don't care if they don't make a profit. That's not the most important thing to them. What's important to the right wing is that they can help place candidates and politicians in office that will ensure that they don't have to pay taxes like everybody else, to ensure that as property owners, they have the most favorable laws to help them make even more money. And of course, one thing that I can say was consistent on both sides of the Atlantic during the global pandemic, you had people in the government in the UK, in the US, that made all of that money from the PPE or whatever that stuff was. They made a lot of money. They got the guaranteed loans, and of course the grants. More importantly, they got those grants from both governments. They everything went their way, and I would say even though the Sussexes are rich, they're not so different from you and I in that they do not have the protection that people within the government have. They kind of exist without a government at this point. And I don't mean that, completely. I mean, Megan is home. She is a US citizen, but there's a lot of influence from the British government, a lot of diplomatic things that we probably are not privileged to, where they probably put a lot of pressure on the Biden administration to make sure that they're not recognized for anything. They're not considered for anything. Can't put my finger on it, but I think that is part of it. So, you know what, guys, truth is on our side. So let's go with that. I say, do not worry about the polls. Do not worry about this hate campaign. Again, they have to tear other people down in order to try to lift them up. And of course, where racism is concerned, there is that component of racism. Um, Everyone, in spite of the fact that it, there's a great case to make about racism, and the Duchess of what is it? She the Duchess of Cornwall now, the Princess of Wales. There has been alleged that she's a racist, but yet instead of people being horrified, it seems as though most people are rallying to her support, and those who are not rallying to her support, they are not very vocal for fear of retribution, or perhaps they collected those trinkets from the UK government. But whatever the case may be, the power dynamic, the odds are really in their favor because they have such a command of resources, deservedly or not. Which of course they don't deserve it because they're horrible, awful people, and they don't deserve that. But that is the nature of the monarchy, is, as they have been saying for some time now, that the worst thing for the spare is to be popular. The worst thing for anyone else in the family is to be a shining light. That is not permissible. They have to make sure that they dim everybody else in existence. And of course, there's the old fashioned notion of the rival court. They can't stand the idea that there could be another royal court, even though that doesn't make a lot of sense, I know, because, this is the United States. But trust me, they think about that stuff. They are very conscious of the idea that the Sussexes continue to enjoy a great deal of popularity. So ignore the polls and just consider the when people are in their presence. The only time that there's been some heckling, that has been that one paparazzi guy that loves to yell things out. Um, and I saw some interview or documentary or something about him. He is a twisted individual and probably has some sort of a mental problem. So, uh, you know, it is just a factor. There's nothing that we can do immediately to change these things. That's what I'm trying to say, is that um, I understand the frustration that a lot of you all are probably feeling, because it's everywhere. Today, someone called, excuse me, called me and said, "Oh, I just saw something on the news about Harry." Now, this is not a squatty, but this is someone who saw that, and of course, I had to take the time to explain that it's not the doom and gloom that they make it out to be, but they have to do that in order to appease their overlords. They have to do that. They have to sell it as though it's hopeless, when indeed it's not. So I'll talk more about that soon. But that is where we're at today. Is that it seems like this is a terrible blow, but that is all media spin. It is certainly not the outcome that we were hoping for at this point, but it's not the end of the road either. So don't give in to that negativity. They want you to be discouraged and dismayed and anxious. That is what the media is good for. They're not really good at giving you good news. Um, it's all bad news all the time. And as I said, the media is abusive because creating these negative um, stories and these negative scenarios, it encourages engagement. It's like an abusive relationship. You have been mentally injured, and yet you go back because you think that the people that you trust can somehow give you some good news later on, or perhaps they'll say something favorable for something that's important to you, but they never do. It's always, I guess, balanced with more nonsense. That's what makes it so dangerous. And this is why I don't watch a lot of those morning shows anymore. And there are occasions when I will see, like, oh, so and so is going to be on there. And I get very curious and I want to know, what's going to happen and what they're going to talk about, and hoping against hope that it's going to be something positive or something favorable. And it never is. It never, ever happens. Um, about one of the best people to have on a panel is Dr. Shola. And as you notice, Dr. Shola has not been welcome on television much lately. Either that, or maybe Dr. Shola doesn't want to be on television. But if it's the idea that she's not welcomed anymore, that's because they can't push her around. She doesn't allow for that. Dr. Shola is very adept at fighting her corner, and they don't like that. I mean, think about it. Dr. Shola is one of the reasons why Pierce Morgan ran out of that studio that day because he couldn't take Dr. Shola. So um, I felt like this needed to be said because you get inundated with those negative headlines, and you start to let it ooze into your self-conscious, or subconscious rather. But ignore, ignore, ignore. Um, it's all part of the scheme. It's all part of the gaslighting and propaganda. It doesn't have any bearing in reality. It is the reality that they create, not the reality that there actually is. So the truth is so much further beneath the surface, but the point is, it's still there. It's like they say, the world's largest oil reserve. Well, you don't see it on top of the soil, but it's there. And people tend to hedge their bets on the idea that there is a source of fossil fuel just beneath the surface that will help to keep this world moving. So, excuse me, let me drink some water here. Okay, there we go. Much better. I had to fine tune my voice. Yeah, so anyway, don't let those people bother you. If it gets to be too much for you, just turn it off. Just turn it off. Avoid those things. Maybe turn off some of those notifications on your phone, or whatever electronic device. And if you don't know how to do it, have your grandkids do it or something. But it might be time to get rid of some of those notifications because we have all kinds of stuff that just pops up on our phone. And the court case was trending like crazy today. And most of the news sources that were uh, pushing the story out there, they weren't telling the whole story. They didn't, they only gloss over it. So, um, in order to get your engagement, they really need to have bad news. So you cannot trust them to inform you about certain things. Okay, so let's move on. Um, our girl is peaceful under a tree and she is living her best life. So, again, do not worry about any of that stuff. They have some very good people that represent them and they'll be on it. So, uh, hello, Antoinette Kennedy. Thank you for being here. Antoinette says, Baron, when you see those negative stories, I'm sorry, when I see those negative stories, I click not interested. So time I cannot so times, or is it sometimes I can report it. Um that is very important. Those three dots, those ones that say not interested, it is a good idea to keep clicking on those things because I have said so many times that I don't see a lot of those hate channels popping up on my computer, on my social media, because I have hit those three dots so often. So they just don't come up. But if you click on them, even if it's by mistake, you got to quickly hit not interested and remove it from your um, history because otherwise it is going to keep popping up again and again. Okay. Let me see here. I may need one of my Connie Balmer Ricolas because this is getting let me see. Oh, you know what? I don't have my humidifier on. Let me go and do that and get a Ricola and maybe that will help. But yeah, I'm a bit parched as they say. So I am going to go and turn on the humidifier and grab me a Ricola, and I'll be back with you directly. In the meantime, in the meantime, let's do this one, shall we? Um, oh gosh, what is her name? Oh, I got it. I got it. There she goes. Where are you, my dear? Where are you when I need you? Yes, there you go.
I just don't get it. I don't get any of it.
What do you mean? You don't get what?
I don't get why we're so obsessed with these humans that are exactly the same. Like, it could be us four sitting there. I just don't get it.
But are you talking about what you mean as royals or as, like, Kim Kardashian? Because for me, they're becoming celebrities.
Well, to me, that's all they are.
The Queen
is their celebrity.
For me, is brilliant.
I love the Queen.
No, for duty, responsibility.
She's always worked really hard, hasn't
I would
she?
work hard if the whole country paid for me to have like 12 houses and work really hard.
But they don't pay for all of the houses. But
just a few.
Well, I'd work hard too if the whole country paid me. Oh boy. No wonder it's out of water. Hold on a second, you guys. If you give me like 12 houses to live in and you paid me, I'd work hard too. Ah, that's better. Okay, I got the humidifier on and I have a Ricola. Thank you, Connie Balmer. Lorna Williams says the only reason this is going to trial is so the royal tabloid rats can create more headlines. Thank you, Lorna Williams. But Harry will win in the end. I have no time for judges that want to extend their time in the news. Well said. Okay. Blacklight says, I don't listen to anything negative regarding the Sussexes. They are tiring and discouraging. Absolutely. Mary H says, Prince Harry wrote that wonderful letter to the court about how important his family's safety is, just made the Vipers more mad. Hear, hear. Okay. All right. I think I'm pretty much caught up. Okay. Let us move on then. So, this actually popped up about 6 hours ago. You will understand well that ensuring the Duke and Duchess of Sussex remain safe is of paramount importance to Her Majesty and her family. So, as you know, whether it was official or unofficial, Charles was being quite the regent in the year before the Queen died. And one of those things that I cannot stop thinking about, as you know, is the famous Ascension Day, or is it Accession Day? Right here. Accession Day 2022, the 70th anniversary of Her Majesty's reign. At this point, the Queen, at this particular time that she was on camera, she said that she wanted people to recognize Camilla as the Queen Consort, even though when they were married, it was agreed upon, I believe in writing, that out of respect for the people who knew and loved Diana, that she should be called the Princess Consort. Just like she was never called Princess of Wales, she was only called the Duchess of Cornwall. Well, all of that changed Accession Day, and by the Queen's own hand, there it was, a decree or whatever saying that she should be known as the Queen Consort. And then, of course, as they got closer to the coronation, they were just like, you know what? We're not going to bother with that. Just call her the Queen. She's been wearing the Queen's jewelry, and all the other stuff that comes with that role. Although she is not a sovereign, she's not the monarch, she is the Queen Consort. And even the Daily Mail, on their tabs at the top of the paper, or at the top of the screen, rather, they still refer to her as Queen Consort. And she's very friendly with the Daily Mail, but they are going to respect protocol, at least where that's concerned. So, Charles had been fiddling around and changing things. And of course, when they had the Sandringham Summit, it seems as though the Queen was very quiet. She mostly listened, which is what tends to happen in a highly stressful situation with a 90-plus-year-old person. They tend to do a lot of looking and a lot of listening. Some are more vocal than others, of course, but at this point, we could only imagine that the Queen was not well. As a matter of fact, the Queen had that very mysterious overnight stay at the hospital, and it was not announced or known about until, a day or two later. So that, along with Philip And one of the things that happens to a person in that age group, by then, a lot of people that you have known, that you have depended upon, that you have grown up with, or grown old with, they were dying left and right. So, who knows what state the queen was in, mentally or physically? And then, of course, at that time, do recall that there was said to have been a complete lack of respect for the queen's household, coming from, of course, Clarence House. Clarence House seemed to um, run roughshod over uh, Buckingham Palace, or the Queen's household. So that is what has been reported. Of course, I wasn't there in either case. So there is that factor. And I only say this because you have to consider where a person's mind was at that time. But I think one of the most basic human instincts is that you might want to protect your family. Now, of course, that doesn't go for all Windsors at all the time, but Harry was said to have been the Queen's favorite grandchild. And so, based on that information, I'm just going to assume that the Queen really wanted to make sure that the Sussexes had some measure of protection, um, as evident by the fact that they managed to spirit their way into Windsor Castle to see the Queen and back out again before anybody knew about it. Now, that took some highly trusted people um, surrounding the Queen to make that happen. As a matter of fact, it may have involved Princess Anne. We don't know. We don't know who helped make that possible, but certainly Harry didn't do it by himself. There had to be someone trusted, someone beyond reproach, someone who was quite fearless of Charles and the rest of the crew. So the only person that I could think of would have been Anne, or if it was the equerry, the guy that's always wearing the kilt and following the queen around, he's now working for Charles. So I don't suspect it was him that helped, because if that was the case, I don't know that Charles would have kept him on. I'm surprised he hasn't been replaced already. But be that as it may, somebody helped. Somebody had to help make that possible. Let me see. I want a handwriting expert to check Queen Elizabeth II's signature on the Secession Day letter. Anyone that carries cash in garbage bags, I wouldn't put it past him to fiddle with the Queen's signature. Well, the Queen also gave an oral statement about it, if I'm correct. I believe there was also, but then there are people that are saying that in exchange for that, there may have been a pledge for continued financial aid and security for that hunk of mess right there, Andrew, the sick old man. There could have been some pledge to continue to support him. So maybe there was a trade off. The truth is, we may never know, but perhaps there was a trade off. So let me continue with this. And yeah, let us continue. So Queen Elizabeth II wanted effective security for Harry and Meghan to continue. The late Queen Elizabeth II considered it imperative that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex kept effective security after leaving the working royal family court documents have revealed. Her most senior aide told a Home Office committee that keeping the Sussexes safe was of paramount importance to Her Majesty and her family, as he put forward a case for their continuing security, a letter has revealed. Now, I was so surprised when I saw this, but in a way, it may start to make sense, just not exactly at this moment, but it may start to make sense because if that is the case, then between the mention from the Queen that that's what she wanted and them clipping their security, what in the world happened? So it says the details emerged in a legal judgment given in Harry's High Court libel case against Associated Newspaper Limited on Friday. The Duke is suing ANL over a February 2022 article about his legal challenge against the Home Office following a decision to change his publicly funded security arrangement when visiting the United Kingdom. An extract from a letter written by the late Queen's private secretary, Edward Young, to then Cabinet Secretary Sir Mark Sedwill, on January the 31st, 2020, reported on what had been agreed at the Family Sandringham Summit on January the 13th. It outlined the expectation the Duke and Duchess would have when attending engagements in the UK and the position of his focusing on security. I'm sorry, let me see. I just skipped a line there. Okay, outline expectations, blah, blah, blah. Position of his grandmother on these and other issues. Yeah, okay. And on the position of his grandmother on these and other issues, focusing on security, Sir Edward wrote, "You will understand well that ensuring the Duke and Duchess of Sussex remain safe is of paramount importance to Her Majesty and her family, given the Duke's public profile by virtue of him being born into the royal family, his military service, the Duchess's own independent profile, and the well-documented history of targeting of the Sussex family by extremists. It is imperative the family continue to be provided with effective security." And in an apparent nod to the death of Harry's mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, he added, and of course, the family is mindful of tragic accidents of the past. The judgment stated that the letter did not refer to an offer personally to reimburse or proactively to finance the cost of state security, so it is not a burden to the taxpayers, which the Duke claims he made during the Sandringham Summit. Sir Edward's letter also went on to make clear that the late Queen and the royal family recognized that the process for making decisions about publicly funded security were independent and are for the UK government, the government of Canada, and any other host government. High Court Judge Mr. Justice Nicklin was previously told the Mail on Sunday first reported that the Duke was taking legal action against the Home Office in January 2022. A press statement issued on Harry's behalf at the time said he and his family were unable to return to his home due to lack of police protection needed in the UK. It added that the Duke first offered to pay personally for UK police protection for himself and his family in January of 2020 at Sandringham. That offer was dismissed. He remains willing to cover the cost of security as not to impose on the British taxpayer. So everything is impossible until it is possible, until it happens. And so one of the tactics that they've been using to deny Harry the ability to pay for their security is to say that this is a government agency and that is beneath them. In so many words, they're saying that, and that you just can't pay for the police. But we all know that that is not true that there is a precedence for people to pay for private security. All over the United States, we have um, uniformed police officers that on the weekends or special occasions have worked as plainclothes or uniformed police, depending on the venue. And so is happened in the UK as well. It is not something that is so outrageous that it just can't be so. And if you feel that strongly about it, well, then pay for it yourselves. If you got enough money to pay for Andrew, then you have enough money to pay for Harry and his family, especially on those rare occasions that they actually visit. But again, as I just said, the idea that there would be a rival court to the rest of the family, or, well, not even the rest of the family, to Charles or William, that is something that they do not want. So William has his own royal court that functions quite independent of his father's. There doesn't seem to be any deference paid to Charles, more than what public image would dictate. But otherwise, William seems to do whatever he wants to do. And of course, you can't tell him anything, which is why they lost half the Commonwealth in the Caribbean trip. So, and if you take a look back at the past here, back in, what was it, February of 2022, Prince Harry does not feel safe when he is visiting the UK, a place that is and always will be his home, his legal team have told the High Court. His desire to return to see his family and friends was emphasized on the first day of legal hearing related to his claim of the Home Office decision not to allow him to pay for police protection for himself and his family while in the UK. The Duke of Sussex wants to bring his children to visit from the US, but he and his family are unable to return to his home because it is too dangerous, a legal representative has previously said. So, back in February of 2022, Harry said the same thing. This is nothing new. This is not just coming out because of the case. There it is in the Guardian from 2022. And then, of course, if you move over to today, Prince Harry loses bid to throw out Mail on Sunday owner's libel defense. The Duke of Sussex's case against Associated Newspapers will proceed to trial without defense of honest opinion. Let's see. So Prince Harry has lost an attempt to strike out the Mail on Sunday's defense to his libel claim against the paper over its reporting of his dispute with the Home Office over his security arrangement. Now, see, it was said that there was some type of leak of information that was known only to Ravek, and somehow that information ends up in the Daily Fail, like the fact that Harry offered to pay for his security. That was not public knowledge. Harry didn't go around telling people, oh, I want to pay. No one knew about that. As a matter of fact, in the court of public opinion, when he was in Canada, it probably would have been helpful if people would have known of his intentions to pay for his own security, because one of the things that was really painful while they were in Canada is this big question about, well, who's going to pay for their security, right? So you had people in Canada. Well, actually, I don't recall hearing Canadians say it, although I'm sure they found someone. Oh, well, we shouldn't have to pay, you know. And then, of course, Donald Trump chimed in with, we're not going to pay, right? That's one of the few times that Trump actually made any reference to the Sussexes. And so that right there was going to be this big campaign to name and shame anybody who dared to give any type of security to the Sussexes. Well, it turns out that an American prince by the name of Tyler Perry, Prince Tyler, actually sent his private jet and his security and even provided a home where they could be safe for 6 long weeks before that location was leaked, just like the last location was leaked. So the leaks were coming from inside the house. And there was continued leaking all the way probably as recently as yesterday. They constantly have leaked, but yet when it comes to the business of the Sussexes in California, there are no leaks. There are no leaks in Montecito. They have been quite safe and they have not had their business all over the place because there are no leaks in Montecito. The leaks are coming from the royal family. The best way to get the information out there is to tell somebody in the royal household, here, don't mention this to anyone, and it will be on the evening news, I guarantee you. So, far-reaching, unjustifiably wide confidentiality restriction to keep his case against the Home Office secret. Yeah. That's okay. Did I miss that part? I guess I did. So the Duke of Sussex is suing the paper's owner, Associated Newspaper, over a story published online and in print on 19 and 20 February 2022, relating to his claim against the Home Office over downgrading of his protective security in the UK after his case. After he ceased to become a working royal. The High Court has previously ruled that the meaning of the Mail on Sunday's story was that Harry sought far-reaching and unjustifiably wide confidentiality restrictions to keep his case against the Home Office secret, and that the public statement made on his behalf suggests that the case was about Harry being allowed to pay for his own security, when in reality, he only made that offer to pay after the proceedings had commenced. So, again, somebody leaked to the Daily Mail. There was a leak to the Daily Mail, and they seemed to know things about Harry's case that was not public knowledge. This was not in the public forum. And yet they seem to be privileged to that information. And that wasn't supposed to be. So you could actually go to the Duke of Sussex versus Associated Newspaper. You could actually go and look at that online. I didn't want to download that to my computer, but it's a PHF or whatever that is, where you download the document to your PC. I didn't want to do that. So, but it is available for the public to view if you're so inclined. But yeah, the neutral citation number, blah, 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 in the High Court of Justice, King's Bench Division, Media and Communication List. The Honorable Mr. Justice Nicklin, between the Duke of Sussex and Associated Newspapers Limited. So, yeah, I don't even know how many pages it is, but it is available for your consideration. So, let me see here. Unlike striking out applications, the court can consider evidence on a summary judgment application. The principle to be applied on a 24 applications are well established. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't, let me do that for you guys. Anyway, there it is. I'm going to just skip that though. So moving on to another topic. Thank you, 4,000 followers. That is from Sussex Global, UK. Um, Hello, Ivy here. Ivy is very happy to report that there are some 4,000 subscribers on Sussex Global UK. So if you have not subscribed to Sussex Global UK, please do support Sister Ivy. Ivy, who has helped us celebrate on numerous occasions. I think we might even be done, well, not an hour, but maybe an hour and a half today. So, beyond grateful to find out that Endgame has hit the New York Times bestseller list for both hardback and combined hardback and ebook sales. This would never have happened without those of you who bought and supported the books. So, thank you. That is from Omid Scobie. Endgame by Omid Scobie is an instant New York Times bestseller. Be sure to pick up your copy of this explosive investigation into the current state of the British monarchy. See there? Not Harry and Meghan, but the current state of the British monarchy. Although you would know that because so far they have made a meal out of the Sussexes. Let me see here. Oh, okay. Let me continue. So, Omid Scobie's Endgame backlash shows how unwilling we are to confront race issues. The Royal Institution's failure to protect its only family member of color sends a clear message. So that was in an op-ed piece that Omid had today, where he spoke about that very topic. Okay. So just to give you a little bit of it, it says, I always knew releasing my second royal book was going to be a steep uphill climb, deep diving into the lesser discussed and more controversial issues surrounding the royal family was never destined for objective coverage by those who make their duty to protect the firm and all relationship with it at any cost. And I was certainly under no illusion that the same group who usually run for cover at the mere mention of the word race were going to welcome the 16,500 word chapter around the royal establishment's uncomfortable history regarding prejudice and and imperial, that is, might. By now, it's almost impossible that you haven't heard of Endgame. It's likely, however, that you will have come across much about what is actually in it before it even hit shelves. Tabloid coverage had already resorted to using false quotes, not actually in the book, and Google translated words from a French serialization. So we all know that Omid has been put through the ringer because of this book, and of course, it was also oh, thank you, Sherry Ware. It was also a good excuse to attack the Sussexes again, and that they have done. They have been, thank you, Black Queen, they have been using the book to go after the Sussexes. But you know what? They'd have done that anyway. But like I said, it was just an excuse. And it's interesting to see how many people have rallied their support around Kate, which is not surprising. I mean, you can't allow the English rose to look bad. That is just not allowed. So I don't think we should be surprised by any of this. Now, there were some of you who said that you had reservations about the idea that Omid was writing this book. There's people who both before the publication and after, did not support the book. And I totally understand why. Because instincts would dictate that exactly what has happened did happen, and that is the book has been used as a means to attack Meghan, to a lesser extent Harry, but mostly Meghan. Whatever it is, Meghan seems to take the most heat for it. And well, the only good that have come out of this is that there is yet another permanent record available of the accounts of the royal family, the misdeeds of the royal family, all of those things. So I am glad for that, but I'm not happy about the attacks on the Sussexes. It is not so helpful to them. But I remain optimistic, and I say let's wait and see um, what happens. But um, I think the level of damage to the royal brand may not be clear just yet. But when they have to go outside of Narnia, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Cover is actually covering for themselves. Oh yeah, you're right, Black Queen. That is brilliant. Black Queen says reflect their innate racism. Covering for her is actually covering for themselves. Racist, overt, and covert do stick together, bar none. Yeah, and as people have speculated, that Kate may actually be taking the fall for William, or Charles may actually be the one that is taking the fall for William. So the likelihood is that it really involved William and Kate, not Charles. It wouldn't make sense that it was Charles, since Charles was having this dialogue with Meghan. Doesn't mean that it's impossible. Doesn't mean that at some point he wasn't part of it. But where Meghan's concerns were, one could only assume that it had to do with William and Kate, since Charles was saying you probably should talk to them, right? And that he was bothered by her concerns. And am I correct that Charles actually wrote to her first and then she responded in kind? So William is the one who's really being protected. And Kate, the big rallying of support around her, is almost as a way to say, thank you for being the fall guy for your husband. Of course, they're not going to give that same protection to Charles, but then again, the media has to, but you know what? Forget about that for just a second. If you all recall, that talk show host for the television morning show This Morning, well, they're saying that he may be back on television next year. And they circled the wagons to protect him, even though there was a question about the age of I'm trying to figure out how to say that, of the person that he supposedly, allegedly was having this affair with. They wanted to make sure by repeating it over and over again, and it was the usual suspects that were on TV repeating the same party line over and over again, that um, they met. Yes, the subject was of a younger age, but by the time they had relations, that person was of an older age. I say hooey. I don't believe it. However, it doesn't matter what I believe. What happened was the usual formula. They circled the wagons and gave protection to that person. And it's the same with Dan Wooten. They were all over television defending Dan Wooten. And finally, they found some trumped up reason to get rid of Dan Wooten from GB News, and that's probably because the owner wanted to buy another newspaper and just didn't need that type of heat on them. So they're saying that that's why Dan Wooten had to go. But my point is, when the British media decides that they are going to change the narrative, they change the narrative. They really do. It is an aggressive campaign like nothing I have ever seen before. And as they say, the lie becomes the truth. And that is exactly what happens. And I just don't know how you fight against something like that. It is so much bigger than what even the strongest person can deal with, which is why so many people just cave and take a settlement, or they don't say anything at all. But what they do, how they operate, how they function, if it was in the United States, it would be illegal. It would be a class action suit so large they wouldn't be able to operate. But because it's the UK, the media are the ones that put politicians in place that will keep laws that protect them and won't hurt them. They get away with it. The politicians are afraid of them. So there's nothing to discourage them. And then of course they protect the royal family. The royal family protects them. There's that symbiotic relationship between the media and the royal household. So it is big. It is monstrously big. So I don't know what there is to be done about it. But Harry and Meghan, I don't think that he would do this without her, but they have made up their minds that they are going to fight their corner. And so with that, I support them. Let's see, Lizzie34. Thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for being here tonight. Lisette says, Good morning. Buongiorno. And I don't know what that other one is. What is that? Gooey more? And good morning, everyone. After watching the docu-series of Harry and Meghan, I've realized that they have moved on, and so did I. The haters aren't affecting me anymore. Very good. I'm so glad to hear that. And thank you so much for being here. Oh, yellow rose tea. Let's see here. Baron, are we really surprised, though, that they are rallying behind Kate? Look how they rolled behind Piers and Sharon Osbourne in their racist tirade. Yeah, like I said, when they circle the wagons, they're very effective. Everybody stays on message. The TJ Holmes and what's her name on ABC, they didn't get that kind of support. But if they were in the UK, well, I don't know, because TJ being of African American descent, maybe not. But if they were in the UK and they were given that kind of protection that the UK media has given to, as you say, Sharon Osbourne, Piers Morgan, um, what's his name, Scoville, Wooten. I mean, there's a few of them. There's a few of them. When they decide to throw their support, they throw their support. And it is like nothing we've never seen before. So, no, I'm not surprised because we've watched this play out again and again. But thank you so much for your 5 months membership. And thank you so much for being here tonight. Let's see. This is the ton of over 1,000 years bullying and destroying lives, one evil lie after the other. with the aid and silent cooperation of brainwashed peasants. Hear, hear. Let's see. Dan Wooten is not truly gone. No, he's not. He'll be back. He'll be back. From GB News, and has non-voting shares in the company worth $100,000. Nigel Farage also has voting shares in GB News. There you go. There you go. So they never really leave. They will protect their own. So I don't suspect that we've seen the last of Dan Wooten. The only thing that's important is that they go away for a while. That's it. But they're protected. Okay, let's get on to a little messy, shall we? Royal family unite in full festive force as Princess of Wales leads an excited George, Charlotte, and Louis into Westminster Abbey for Together at Christmas Carol service, but not before they have posted their cards. So they put a mailbox right at the entrance of the Westminster Abbey, and under the gaze of what seems like hundreds of cameras, the kids were encouraged to do a pantomime or to do a performance of It's Christmas Time. And so they went over to the box to mail their Christmas cards. Yeah, they had to be performative at their tender young ages. But what's kind of, shall we say, odd is the term a royally white Christmas. Really? Is that what you mean to say? A royally white Christmas? That's a little wordplay, if you ask me. And I think it's deliberate. I really do believe that that is quite deliberate. There is no chance that that just happened by chance. That was quite deliberate. Yep, that was deliberate. I do believe it. And nobody is going to convince me otherwise. That's exactly what they meant to say. They said what they mean, and they mean what they said. A royally white Christmas. And of course, as part of the wordplay, Kate is wearing white. Um, a winter white, of course. I mean, look at there. A royally white Christmas. They are sending the message. And then, too, I want you to notice the maroon coat. There were several maroon coats, which is what they wore last Christmas as a show of force. So there's plenty messages that is going on here. If you take a look at this, remember, they went to the Windrush people, right? They went to go unveil that Windrush statue. And of course, that's when William gave his I Had a Scheme speech. Martin Luther Windsor gave his I Had a Scheme speech. Kate joined Prince William at the unveiling of the National Windrush Monument. The Duchess of Cambridge revisited her favorite white power suit. Really? Her favorite white power suit with black people? You all, I cannot prove it, but I think that there is a bit of a deliberate joke there amongst either the courtiers, between the Welleses, or both. I don't think that that's an accident. Just like with the most recent racism um, row, if you will, the racism row, of course, they would call it a royally white Christmas, even though last year it was called what? A Christmas Carol. How does it go from a Christmas carol to a royally white Christmas? I'm telling you, that was deliberate. And yes, you know what? I don't even know what this young lady's name is, but I'm not surprised to see her there. I'm not surprised to see her there. You know, they had to make sure that they invited some black people. I don't know, does she sing or poetry or act, whatever it is? There was also a gentleman of African descent that was there, but I didn't see him um, as part of the photos, except for there's a video of Kate speaking to him. But as I said, they have resources. You could take someone as mediocre as Kate Middleton and infuse public funding into an event like this. Um, and that way you can build up her, what do you call it, her profile by using public funds. So, you know, this is not available to the average person, but because of the vast resources of the royal family, this will be the annual Christmas with Kate. And then after all of this hard work, they are going to disappear probably for a month or two, which is what they usually do. They take some time off after Christmas. So they will be quite invisible soon. And then let me show you this. I just came across this. We are very amused how humor is the secret weapon of the Windsors at these uproarious picture show. Um, yeah, as these uproarious pictures show. Okay. Um, they have, I'm not even going to bore you with all the photos, but this is part of the campaign to reform Kate's um, position, right? So, absent from the photos is Camilla, Harry, and Meghan. They're not included. Everybody else is there, but not Camilla. They don't need her. And Harry and Meghan. They don't want them. They wanted to create this collection of photos because one of the things that Omid Scobie got in trouble for was they accused him of saying that all Kate does is grin. Well, Omid Scobie did not say that. He said that the expectation was that she would just smile and wave and grin and such, but he did not accuse her of grinning too much. But someone decided, or they decided to run with that, and I think that where they got that from was probably from the Sussex squad because we have really, and you know, I have. I'm always talking about how ridiculous Kate looks grinning all the time like a hyena. So they decided to say, oh, if you think that's a bad thing, it's really not. So this is just an article used as a part of the overall propaganda to make it seem like it's not just Kate that laughs and grins and is goofy too much. It's the whole family. William, of course, they selected a photo of him with black people. Most of the times, you cannot find anybody smiling with William or Kate that happens to be black. That is kind of rare. But they found one of those rare photos and decided to throw that into the collection. And then in the article, and see, I'm telling you, this article wasn't about the family, it was about Kate. I just threw that picture in there to be shady. She has many accomplishments and talents, including her natural grace and dignity, playing the piano, art, and photography. But another key quality was on view last week when the Princess of Wales met with the stars at the Royal Variety performance at the Albert Hall. And sense of humor combined with the outsized and infectious laugh, it's been said before that Catherine and William's ability to smile. I'm telling you all, this is so made up. Just like the person who said revenge dress was completely off the mark. Who are they talking about here? It's been said before that Catherine and William's ability to smile together is one of the things that holds them together so tightly as a unit. But humor appears to be a key weapon for the princess in public, too. I'm so sorry. I just banged my hand on the table. I shouldn't have done that. But they have been reaching to depths I have never seen before. This entire week has been all, yes, thank you, grimaced, has been all Kate all the time. Yes, thank you, thank you. She has talent. That's a stretch. They are funny. Thank you, Legs. You know what? I don't know. I almost didn't share this, but I said, no, I don't want people to miss this because this is pure propaganda. We are very amused. How humor is a secret weapon of the Windsors, as these uproarious pictures show. And then, of course, you have this made up stuff here about how they laugh together. Y'all, they are not going down without a fight. They are not going down without a fight. Now, Omid Scobie said that his book was supposed to save the monarchy before it's too late. I think he may have been successful because they have shamelessly promoted the institution. They have shamelessly promoted Kate, William, Charles, and even Camilla. Shamelessly making up stuff. Making up stuff. Such a close unit. I'm like, who the heck are they talking about? And then if that's not enough, have you all ever been to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum? If you're not familiar with Madame Tussauds, I don't know where you've been, but since 1795, Madame Tussauds, who used to make death masks for the recently departed, she got into the business of making some very lifelike cast or even statues of people, effigies, if you will, so lifelike that it almost seems like they're standing right in front of you, right? Well, the Windsors are one of the more famous groups of wax figures that they have on display. There's the Queen and Philip. There's um, Cain and Unable. And of course, my favorite, Harry and Meghan. They have these on display. Now, they said that Harry and Meghan had been moved away from the royal family. Fine, whatever. But there is a new member of the Madame Tussauds that they introduced at the Royally White Christmas. Have you guys seen it yet? There's a new waxwork on display. It's called Carol Middleton. there is a wax effigy of Carol Middleton that was on display at Westminster Abbey. Surely that's not the real Carol Middleton because, well, it doesn't look as lifelike. But yeah, they, for whatever reason, thought it was a good idea to introduce Carol Middleton's wax figure at the Christmas carol. So, um, what's really cool about it is you don't even have to pay to see it. Although this wax figure would gladly accept pay from anybody for any reason. But yeah, there is the newest waxwork, courtesy of Madame Tussauds. It looks so lifelike, doesn't it? I'd say it does. And of course, um, she's not the only wax figure. If you take a look here, just grinning and grinning and grinning, is something else that looked like it was molded from wax. Kate Middleton. So you have a wax figure of Carol, a wax figure of Kate, and of course, you know, this is the actual Carol Middleton. And then this is the Madame Tussauds version. See there? Madame Tussauds, real life. One more time. Madame Tussauds, and there's the real life Carol Middleton. So, and I don't know. I think it's something about the eyes. They really have done a good job with the eyes. See how full and plump her cheeks are? See how tight the skin is? See how she's unable to move her face? So if that isn't a wax figure, it should be. Woo! Carol got some big hands, don't she? Big old money grabbing hands. I mean, look at her hand compared to Michael Middleton's hand. That's a big hand. That hand looked like she could slap you across the street, from across the street. Anyway, I don't know. I just couldn't help but notice that. Must be all those party pieces she was counting. So, yeah, like mother, like daughter, they can make some of the strangest, most peculiar expressions. But yeah, like mother, like daughter. And then, of course, look at there. Look, am I wrong? Tell me that doesn't look like a waxwork. Tell me that that doesn't look like a waxwork. The only way you know that that's actually a human is because it was moving so fast trying to catch up to Pippa's husband to see if he could help them pay some of them bills. Maybe that's the only way that you can tell that's a real person is because it was moving so fast, whatever it is, trying to catch up to Pippa's husband, trying to get some of that money. Now, his father is still alive, but he is money adjacent, right? His father is a billionaire. So, wow, that is so strange. They look so lifelike, but I'm telling you, if she was at Madame Tussauds and stood still, you wouldn't know the difference between her and one of the wax figures. I get it now. They are part of the psychotic institution. That's why they are so nuts. Glad Harry and Meghan flew away from the cuckoo's nest. Hear, hear. Hear, hear. Let me see. Carol Middleton looks like she has got some face fillers, or maybe she is eating her feelings. Yeah. Yeah. Ever since their financial problems, she has gone from worse, from bad to worse, should I say. The question is how to throw them off. Let me see. Is yes, you do for each other, but they have done for the benefit. Okay, thank you. Let me see. And What is it? Golfing Mom 68 says Kensington Palace are using a ton of bots at present. It's all about puffing up the personality challenged racist Kate's image and elevating the enraged royal bully William. Yeah. Yeah, they have been working overtime, you guys. That's why I say don't worry about that stuff because this is something beyond anything that we can change. Um, things change sometimes have to come incrementally. So let's just keep doing what we've been doing and stay the course. Because as they say, might doesn't mean right. And because they have a vast amount of resources at the public's expense, um, they can get plenty miles out of all of this stuff, but it doesn't mean that they're right, and it doesn't mean that they're going to win in the end. So I say, do not allow your energy to be pulled away from you with a bunch of bad feelings and negative thoughts. Now, I did not see the U-boat captain, Princess, and I'm sorry, Prince and Princess Michael of Kent, to retire from public life. Now, the last time we saw them, the two of them could barely make it up the steps. I mean, they literally looked like two drunks tied together trying to hold each other up. I don't know if it was all that Russian money filling their pockets and purses or what it was, but they could barely make it up the steps of St. Paul's. So the photo on the left, that is Prince Michael of Kent, and I suppose that's one of their daughters, but I suppose. But Princess Michael of Kent did not seem to make it to the Christmas um, gathering. So, from what I hear, she has been in some really poor health. That's what I heard. Don't know exactly how true it is, but I'm pretty sure, just like me, you guys are watching the news feed and hoping that nothing terrible happens to this gracious humanitarian, this pillar of the community, the vein of Princess Diana's existence. As a matter of fact, it was Princess Diana who, upon discovering that Princess Michael of Kent's father was a Nazi, she began to refer to her as the U-boat captain. So, but yeah, Princess Diana and Princess Michael of Kent were not friends. As a matter of fact, I actually saw a documentary where Princess Michael of Kent said some really nasty, negative things about Princess Diana. I was so surprised, but she was quite vocal about her disdain for Diana. Um, and that's really a shame that she can get away with that. Joanna Hong, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Did you use the word botched? uh, and of course, Copy Kate strikes again. Yep, she went there. Copy Kate strikes again. Um, and I'm not going to dwell on that, but of course, along with the royally white Christmas, a, a collection of burgundy coats, and inviting Black people to the event, the royally white Christmas. Of course, she had to wear something that was super similar to something that Meghan has worn in the past, just to complete the insult. Bristol University acts as national anthem for a graduation ceremony amid students' claims it is old fashioned and offensive to some. So, the idea of playing the national anthem here in the US was actually part of a campaign to recruit soldiers during the wars or whatever war it was, or it was part of a recruitment drive, right? And so you would almost think that every country plays the national anthem, and I'm sure they do. Before those big sporting events, they probably do play the national anthem in most places. But that wasn't always the case. It wasn't always a thing that you would play the national anthem at a public gathering, but a way of trying to control the masses with patriotism. um, for like the past 50, 60 years they have been playing the national anthem, maybe longer. But here in the US, it was part of a scheme to recruit soldiers. That's it. In the middle of a football game or baseball game, whatever it was, World Series, championship, they decided, why don't we do the national anthem? That'll help bring in some new recruits. And so it has continued since then. But some people find it offensive. Like God Save the King, I think that really flies in the face of religion, that you would want people to sing God Save the King. Um, it goes against the very tenets of Christianity. But I digress. But yeah, so it is up to them whether or not they want to do that, and they say not. Now, much to your surprise, guess what? I'm just about done. This is the last slide. This is the last slide. Invictus Games Vancouver Whistler 2025. With just under 14 months to go until the start of the Invictus Games, Vancouver Whistler 2025, presented by ATCO, the Florida partner, has generously donated a full-size NCAA basketball court, which will host our wheelchair basketball and wheelchair rugby competitions. So, yeah, what you see crated up over there, or at least bound to those skids, those are panels of a basketball court. And that was shipped to Whistler, Vancouver, so they can use it during the competition. How cool is that? So I just wanted to show you that so you guys will know that this is coming together nicely and that people are doing the most to help ensure that the athletes, competitors, and their families will be quite comfortable and very well entertained and everything else. So 14 months to go, and quietly and discreetly, things are moving on. So again, don't listen to the noise. Oh yeah, Myra, I can understand that. I can understand why you feel that way, but it is something to have your eyes open for. Harry has, in some degree or another, been abused his whole life by that institution, by his family, by his brothers. Constant competitive nature, not really competitive nature, but competing with him. I don't think he has a competitive nature. If he did, he wouldn't be so insecure. But that has been a constant, and it's not fair to Harry. But God has put an amazing woman in his life, and he has the family that he always wanted. And it's still kind of recent that they left the 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 UK. What is this? Makes it 3 years? Yeah, it's been what, 3 years now since they left, and well, they're making the adjustment, but they have done so much in such a short period of time. Um, I don't think anyone can count them out. But yeah, so it is hurtful and painful to watch this, but the Sussexes have been incredibly blessed, and they will continue to be blessed. And also, they have something that the rest of them don't have, and that's the Sussex squad. Oh, really? Oh, wow. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, yeah. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Yes, unfortunately, we lost Ryan O'Neal. Um, Ryan O'Neal, I thought he was a great actor. I loved him in all of his movies and television appearances. Poor Ryan O'Neal passed away today. Father of Tatum O'Neal, once married to Farrah Fawcett. Um, Good actor, good actor, very talented, and I love the way that he really stuck by Farrah Fawcett's side when she was so ill. They were still married when she passed away, right? So yeah, that was a surprise, but yeah, I thought I really liked him. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. I won't keep you any longer. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for trusting me to do this work. I really, really appreciate your trust. That means more to me than you could ever know. And it is so, so important to me. So, yeah, it is. It's very important. Um, Let me see here. Well, I think I covered everything. Yes, so keep the faith. Don't despair. Don't give in to the negativity and the negative thoughts and such. That is what the enemy wants. They want us to be anxious and confused. They want to rock us back on our heels and to make us feel despair. But that's not who we are. We're not those people, not the ones that they want us to be. Let's see. Yeah, so for the sake of Doria and Flower, and of course, good King Harry and Princess Diana, Archie, Lily, stay strong, stay alert. And listen, if you do have to uh, reply to someone on social media, don't make it personal, right? Don't make it personal. Don't get kicked off of the platform. And yeah, and just, do what you got to do, but don't make it personal. Because if you do that, you've already lost. And yes, there are a lot of bots out there, a lot of bots. So I have been going through the comments trying to permanently block a lot of those people. And oh my goodness, there's a lot. I had to stop at some point, but I got to go through and clear those people so that they won't bother us again. And I noticed that a lot of those people, like sometimes I look at something I post, and maybe there's 20 people that have posted, but only 15 of them actually show up because the rest of them are blocked forever. And that's the way we like it. Okay. Uh, okay, sorry about that. Let me see here. Well, thank you, Yellow Rose Tea. Yes, please hit that like button on your way out. Don't forget to subscribe. Already, we have 200 new subscribers since like a day, 2 days ago. Yeah, I got to go and do something about my voice. I got the humidifier on, but maybe it was too little too late. I'm like, what is happening to me? Yes, over 200 new subscribers. And so it goes. Wow. I mean, at this rate, we might have another 1,000 subscribers by the end of the week. Wouldn't that be insane? Okay. All right, so let me find the last word of the day, and then we will do the Ginger Avenger. Let me see. And then I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, this is kind of generic. Start your day with positive thoughts. Gee, I wouldn't have thought of that. Let me find something else. Oh, that's a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. Let me see. Oh, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. So, yeah, don't try to be anybody else because those roles are already taken. One small positive thought in the morning can change your entire day. One positive thought in the morning can change your entire day. I like that. Excuse me. If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. Okay, I like that. Yeah, that ought to do it. We think too much and feel too little. Charlie Chaplin. Oh, that's interesting. Believe you can, and you will. Believe you can, and you will. All right. I think that'll do it. Thank you all so much. Love you all. See you tomorrow. Oh, it's Wendell Pierce's 60th birthday? Happy birthday to Wendell Pierce. That's the guy who played, Megan's dad. Oh, yeah, I don't know what happened to my voice. Oh, you think so too? Yeah, that's what I believe. Oh, Letitia Malone, thank you very much. I will be so excited when that happens. Yep, I will be so excited when that happens. Well, who knows when we'll see our faves, but long as they are safe and long as they're making lots of money to take care of our Archie and Lilies, our Archies and Lilies, our prince and princess. We want the Sussexes to make a lot of money so that they can keep those children safe. That is very important. We want our little babies safe. I cannot wait until they have a special from Carnegie Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, from Carnegie Hall is Prince Archie. And there will be Prince Archie at a concert piano as a concert pianist playing a very bespoke edition of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Yes, that is where our Prince is headed. He's going to take Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star to Broadway. And I'm here for it. Yes, our little baby Archie is going to play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star on Broadway, Carnegie Hall, Kennedy Center. Nobody will have done as much with that song than our little Archie. I promise you that. Okay, and with that, love you guys. I'm going to cue the Ginger Avenger, and I will see you all tomorrow. Ooh, that would be fun, right? A Christmas picture. Okay. I look forward to that. I will look forward to that.